This is the Yorkshire Voice Newscast, brought to you by Leeds Trinity University.
Hello and welcome to today's newscast. I'm Olivia Tamsley.
And I'm Josie Kemp.
On today's show, we will be talking about the recent allegations made against actor Noel Clarke. We'll be discussing the social media blackout in protest to racial online abuse towards sports players. And live from Leeds Vaccination Centre, we will be talking to our very own Abby Lord, who is having her second jab today. So today we're starting with the recent reports on Noel Clarke. If you haven't heard, BAFTA has suspended Noel Clarke's membership following newspaper allegations of sexual misconduct. The actor and producer, best known for Doctor Who and the Hood trilogy, really denies the claims. What do you think?
Well, I'm just really disappointed, to be honest, because I did watch him in the Hood trilogy and I loved those movies, and it's just really annoying to hear it come out. It's just really disappointed. I'm just disappointed in him.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's a real shame. I really loved him in Doctor Who as Mickey. It's just you're right. It's a shame, especially since he was so open about racial problem, because he was a real head for that. Really wanted to make improvements, but he's just ruined everything.
He's just let himself down.
Yeah,
and everyone else.
There are so many allegations as well, 20 allegations.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is a lot. The women coming forward are so brave. They should really be commended for that, because it's really scary to come forward about something like that.
Especially since there's a lot of people who are like, oh, well, you're lying. So it's good that they've come out, but I hate him.
Okay. Well, moving on. The Welcome to Yorkshire CEO, James Mason, is encouraging the people of Yorkshire to raise money by walking, cycling or running a mile every day. The money is being raised for Yorkshire Cancer Research. James is calling this the Tour de Yorkshire.
We would normally have a big cycle race at this time of year, the Tour de Yorkshire. That's been postponed because of COVID, so we're asking people to walk, cycle or run for the month of May, hence the Tour de Yorkshire, play on words, where we're asking people to raise money, get fit, both mentally and physically, and hopefully raise plenty of money for Yorkshire Cancer Research, our official charity partner.
So we just heard James Mason speaking there, and that's a really great cause to get behind. So are you going to be getting involved this year?
I'd like to say that I will, because it'd be good. Obviously, it's for charity, and I think everyone should try and get involved at least. It's for a good cause, so why not?
Yeah, I agree. And I looked on the website earlier. The sign up process is so easy. You just press a button and you sign up.
Yeah.
And it was great to see that they're almost halfway to their 50,000.
Yeah, they had 24,000 and something, didn't they?
Yeah,
So
£24,000. So it's good to see that that's moving on and they're getting the money that obviously the cancer charity deserves.
Yeah, true.
And now speaking of another good cause, so on May 11th, Bradford City will mark the 36th anniversary of the Bradford City Fire, and that killed 56 people in 1985. So ahead of this day, a cover version of You'll Never Walk Alone has actually been released to raise money for the Bradford Burns Unit, which was set up after that event that happened. So Bradford musicians and lifelong City supporters, Andy Ruddy and David Novakovsky, who actually produced the song, created a way to raise money, as much money as possible for such an important cause. So our reporter, Sarah Dewars, sat down with David to talk about the charity single and how important it is to educate the younger generation about the tragedy that happened.
If people who don't know the song, it's You'll Never Walk Alone. It's a very, very, very poignant song, which has been around. People think it's Jeremy and the Pacemakers, but it's actually not. It's done by Roger and Hammersmith. Is it Hammersmith? Roger and Hammersmith? Hammerstein, that's it. Hammersmith's like a jeweller's in Leeds. Hammerstein, which was a musical called Carousel. So that's actually the original piece. People think it was Johnny and the Pacemakers. They actually covered it. So that's a bit of history for you there, Sarah. And I ended up doing a cover for that, got in contact with a club. And I just thought, how can we do something different this year? So I composed, arranged a version of it, got in touch with another local musician, Andy Ruddy, who's also a fellow Bradford City fan, who I've also done a lot of co-writing with. And also I thought, it'd be really nice to get a choir on here and kind of change it in a direction midway through the song. So I contacted Dixon School of Music in Bradford, who also won the Song for Yorkshire recently. So I thought it would be a really, really nice touch to have them both on and be on the track. So yeah, this is where we're at. It's currently on the Bradford City website for people to donate. They will also get a really nice package of the song. So we'll get the song, all the artwork as well, credits and everything, which is really nice. And it's only like $1.99. It's not a lot. It's not a lot. And I think it's just a really, really nice thing. But most importantly, raise as much money as possible for the Bradford's Burns unit. I think it's so important to keep them at the forefront of everything. I think they do so much, and they're such an important part of the tragedy that happened in 1985. So yeah, this is where we're at, Sarah.
How's the sort of reception to it going so far?
You know what? I don't know. I haven't checked in with the club yet, so I don't know. It's probably been mum, my dad, and my grandma's just gone. We'll probably raise about £6. I don't know. I really don't know. And I think, do you know what? I think it should. I think over the next few weeks as well, with the anniversary coming up on May 11th, I think people connect even more. Social media is a huge power. You know what it's like. But I mean, everyone's got social media and people sharing it around. We had some really good comments yesterday on the first day, which are really sweet. People sharing it, saying we've done a really good job of it. It's so special. But only time will tell. So well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure everyone will be on board with it and supporting it as much as possible. So I know you said that there are children's voices, the choir on the song. How important is it for sort of the children of Bradford to like learn about this history, maybe through this sort of medium?
Well, to be honest, I mean, I had a discussion probably about a year ago when I was chatting with a fellow Bradford legend, Peter Jackson, who was actually there at the game, and he even mentioned this should be educated in the schools. It should be educated in the schools. It's one of the biggest tragedies ever that happens in football history. That and probably Hillsborough as well. But especially in Yorkshire and Northern England and England, you know, England as a whole, it needs to be educated more. People need to understand what happened, especially with us remembering every single year about this. It's so important. It's so important. And these young kids who are going to the games and stuff like that, they need to understand. They need that kind of little history of what happened and make sure they understand the meaning behind what happened as well. It's so important. And I just hope that we do carry on and we carry remembering something that happened with the club and as football fans in general. But yeah, I think it's very, very important that kids are educated a little bit better, perhaps, so they remember and understand what actually happened. Yeah.
How sort of impactful do you think this event and Hillsborough, like you mentioned, like were on football as a business, football as a game, as a culture? Sort of what impact do we see today that they've had?
Well, I think well, the main thing with the Bradford City stuff was the stands made out of wood. You know what I mean? That's changed massively. So that's kind of in the football stuff. They've changed the regulations of what stands and the safety of stands, and same with Hillsborough. I mean, I think after Hillsborough, everything changed to seating anyhow, didn't it? Because they were all standing. But like I said, just two tragic events that happened in football history. I mean, I don't know like how much you know yourself about both tragedies and stuff, but it's awful even just think about it now. I've got my hair standing up. It's awful. And it's one of the things that, as a Bradford City fan, going back to the fire, it's always going to be with you, no matter how close you were there to that day. If there were a family member there or anything like that, it's always going to be with you as a fan of the club. And I guarantee that's going to be the same for Sheffield Wednesday fans, Liverpool fans, with Hillsborough. It's always, even football fans in general, it's just such a poignant tragedy that happened that you're always going to remember. But they did something about it, didn't they? Do you know what I mean? They changed it. And it's really, really unfortunate that something like that has to happen for something to change. It's awful. It's awful. But like I said, they had to make the changes. So yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's good that they were able to sort of react. What was your experience? Where were you that day? When did you hear about it? What was your experience?
I wasn't born, Sarah. I wasn't born. Come on, I'm not that old. Come on, Sarah. I was. Yeah.
My math is terrible.
I was coming out of my mother's womb in July, so I just I was just a few months later. However, coincidentally, my dad was going to go to the game, and my uncle they were going to sit in that stand, right? And for some reason, I don't know what it was, they didn't go. But my uncle, he was in a wheelchair. He's passed away now, bless. But like he was in a wheelchair, so they would have sat in the stand where the wheelchairs sit. So if they was in there, I mean, it's just it's awful to think about. But yeah, it's just I don't know. Yeah, it's one of them things. Like I said, but I wasn't born. I wasn't born. But straight away, as soon as you're a Bradford City fan, it's one of them things that you know about straight away because you get to know it. You get to know it as a Bradford City fan. So pretty much, I knew about it pretty much earlier on, and family talk about it. They tell you about it as well because you always go, "Hey, Daddy, what's happening today?" If it's a memorial or you're having a minute's silence and stuff, you learn about it. And another thing, like as well, Sarah, like even when you get a little bit older as well, I remember just researching about it. I wanted to know about it myself, and it's something that you need to know. And going back to the original question of, do you think should teach it in schools? It's like, yeah, they should do. But these days, I mean, you've got internet at your fingertips. It's like you should really educate yourself if you don't know about it. You really should. And even living over here now in America, and obviously posting the song yesterday, even as far as over here, some people know about it, but again, some people don't. And it's kind of one of the things where I just say, listen, just go do your research. I give them like a 1 or 2 sentences and mention what it's about. But then I said, listen, go do your research, go do your homework. And when they come back, it's like, what, you know what I mean? It's like my wife, when I first showed her about it, because she wasn't really, well, they're not really into like the football. It's more soccer. It's soccer over here. So it's kind of one of the things where they don't really know about the league systems and stuff like that. But I just obviously mentioned about the fire, and we watched some clips on YouTube and news reports, and she was in absolute shock. It's like it's awful. But yeah. Sorry, I'm just having a good rant.
That's all right.
It's good. It's very relaxing, this interview, isn't it? I wish everyone were like this. Chill. Even the dogs have come in, Sarah. Look.
Aww.
They come and say hello.
Hey, pals.
Hey.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I must admit, I didn't really know much about it until the Wikipedia is very extensive. It's very easy to do. Yeah, find out.
So let me throw the question at you then. All right. So say that you didn't know much about it. What did you do then to research about it? Did you
just a quick Google, and you come like the sort of different pages on it are very extensive, and it's very easy to get an idea of what happened and the reactions and sort of what was changed. I found it quite easy to, which is good. It's good that
it is good. It is good. No, you're right. So yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. Sort of, I know at the moment Bradford City aren't doing so well, having had a few losses in a row. But sort of how will the players in the next few weeks go sort of change their mentality as we move towards the memorial fixture and the anniversary?
I think. Listen, they're all professionals. Do you know what I mean? They're all professionals. Do you mean how is it going to affect the game, or just in general? What do you mean?
Yeah, just like how. I guess they're probably at the moment sort of focusing on how they're playing, but obviously this is such a significant day every year. Will they have to go through a process?
I don't think they will let the anniversary affect what happens on the field. I really don't. These guys are professionals, you know what I mean? But when the time's right, when they have to pay respects and minute silences and everything like that, and they have to do events building up to the anniversary, absolutely, of course they're going to be there. You know what I mean? The professionals, respect. But like I'm saying, I think the best thing for the team this season, I think playoffs are out, the promotion's out at the minute. They just need to finish off the season as strong as possible. I really do, and let's kind of move on to next season. I really do. But going back to the anniversary and the time, they've got a job to do when they have to step up and show that respect. And do you know what I mean? Pay the respects for the anniversary. Of course, they'll do that. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think any team would do that. Yeah, but I don't think it's going to affect the game. I think once they're on the field, they've got a job to do, and that's what they'll do.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully, the bigger and better things next season.
Well, we shall see. Yeah, we shall see. Listen, who knows? This is why football's so exciting. Do you know what I mean? It's a competition. It's a competition. Everyone's battling. I mean, look at Harrogate Town. Look at, Salford. It's like this is why you get born with a football underneath your arm when you're young. Do you know what I mean? It's like, here you go. Welcome to the world. You know what I mean? It's like Yorkshire and stuff, and you get out there and you get introduced. It's so young. It's such a competitive game. It's such a competition, and this is why it's exciting. But who knows? Who knows? I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. You don't know what you're doing tomorrow. You know what I mean? You never know, do you? And that's what football's like. You don't know if it's going to be. It's ace. It's ace. It's so cool. So who knows what's going to happen next season? Hopefully, listen. Listen. I think the club have really rebranded itself so much as well over even the last year through a pandemic as well. They've done so well. Ryan Sparks has done a great job down there. I've been very connected with the club over the years in the media department and stuff like that, which I've been very fortunate about. And looking from afar now, listen, you put the work in, you get results. That's what it is. And I think we are in a good situation for next season. But who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, well, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I've got. All questions I have. So, have you got anything else you would like to say?
No, just everyone go out and download that song and raise as much money as possible. I think. Listen, you all know the song; it's recognisable. But I think the main part, like I said from the beginning of the interview, I think the most important thing to raise as much cash as possible for the Burns unit, and support the charity and support the hospital. And it's easy to do. You can go to Bradford City website. It's on there. It's the charity single, You'll Never Walk Alone. And just get out there and absolutely, buy 3, buy 4. Buy one for the cat, buy one for the dog. There you go.
Just quickly before we move on, I'd like to reiterate for our top story today that Noel Clarke vehemently denies all claims of sexual allegations made against him. And now we have the latest COVID news. If you're 40 and live in Bradford, you're now being invited to book your first COVID jab. Northern Ireland have also made the jab available to 30 to 35-year-olds, and it's the third time this week the vaccination programme has been extended. We now go to Abby Lord, who's outside Leeds Student Medical Practice waiting for her second vaccination shot. Hi, Abby.
Hi, Liv. Yeah, I am here outside Leeds Student Medical Practice.
Yeah, it's actually Josie, but how are you feeling?
Josie. I'm all right. After having my first vaccine, I think the nerves are already gone.
Oh, good. So you're not nervous then?
No, not at all. It's like a 30-second thing. You go in, you go out, and then it's done. It's sorted. It's such an easy process.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, like, what was your experience like with getting the first dose?
Well, they say when you had your first vaccine, if you've already had COVID, then you're going to experience side effects. And I did, but they weren't as strong as people were suggesting they were going to be. It was like having a bit of a cold, really.
Not too bad then. Would you recommend getting the jab if you're eligible?
Absolutely. It's like I said, it's such an easy process. It means that we can get back to normality so much faster. And once it's done, it's done. I don't think it's really going to have much of an impact unless everybody gets it done.
Yeah, I agree. Well, thank you.
See you later.
Bye.
It's nice to hear from Abby then. Would you get
Yeah.
your vaccine if you were offered it tomorrow?
Yeah. Yes, I would actually.
Yeah, I
Would
would
you?
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And it's obviously there have been worries about the infertility
Mhm.
claims, but I'm not sure how much that scares me.
No, I mean I get that. And the other thing was about like it can cause blood clots, but like okay, women on birth control. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, exactly. But obviously, it's completely understandable if people don't want to get it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, no one's been forced to. So it's their own decision.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. I agree with you. But anyway, sport now. Football and cricket clubs in England will boycott Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter from 3 p.m. today up until midnight on Monday. The move has the goal of trying to eradicate the blight of racist and sexist slurs taking place on social media. Several charities have followed suit in promoting the significance of the boycott. Troy Townsend, head of player engagement at Kick It Out, told a reporter, Ricardo Trono, the way young players should learn to use social media.
I'm one of the people that go into the academy environment, the academy structure, youngsters from the age of 9 through to 23s, and provide that kind of education. So the kind of education that has never been delivered before to young players in regards to understanding racism. You might think, well, that's a bit strange because not everyone understands what racism is. Being able to talk about racism and then also being able to use their platforms for good, to make sure that they don't on any platform, like, retweet, comment, share, and all the various ways that you can use social media, anything that has a discriminatory nature in it. Players, unfortunately, in our country, and there's a lot around this in terms of the language in music, the language in some comedy, some images that people like to post. So I believe that we're doing such a great job over here in England in terms of providing that education, that understanding of the rights and wrongs of social media, but also in the way the players can still use it as the power of good, like you've kind of mentioned in your question. We're asking players to be conscious and mindful of the way that they use it, the impact, even if it's in stories that vanish in 24 hours, because you know what it's like. Someone will screen record the story and then put it out there in the public domain. So something I've been speaking about more increasingly is to not use certain emojis, because those are the same emojis that are used to target black players in the industry. And even if it's as a form of banter, you don't want to actually be, using those emojis. And you kind of know what emojis I'm talking about here: banana emojis, gorilla emojis, monkey emojis, all those kind of emojis that have connotations towards the color of someone's skin. We're asking players to eliminate their use of that, actually to protect themselves. Because you know what it's like. There's all these copycats who will then say, well, I learned it off of such and such who played for such and such. And it may be as banter, but it's been used in a different way. So to be honest with you, I think our educational system has been really good. It's taken a long time. I'm not going to say that it's always been this good, but it's taken a long time. And there is now no more excuses for players if they do cross the line on social media. You saw the incident with Edison Cavani of Man United back in October, when he used language that in his own country, in Uruguay, is acceptable, but in England, it's deemed not acceptable. So understanding cultural differences as well has to be important. And even for senior players to understand that certain terminology and language, although it might be used in their own country, we have to understand cultural differences as well, because in this country, we will just fine players for using negative language or emojis, etc., for not so good. So I also like to say, though, the power of social media and the way that players utilize social media for good from their platforms, engaging with fans, putting out promotional stuff, but helping fans engage closer to them, is the strength that I would like to see social media continue with.
Yeah, well, I agree with this blackout, because like I think social media can be a very toxic place as well, especially if people are experiencing racial abuse, just abuse as well. Like, no one should have to put up with that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. And the difference between the abuse that the white players get and the black players get is so obvious.
Yeah, it's it's so obvious, and it's just disgusting. Like, no one should have to put up with that ever.
Yeah.
And I get that some people say it's banter, but like it's just not. It's like just being racist. So like, just stop.
Yeah, and I think it's a very important conversation to have right now,
Yeah.
especially off the back of the BLM
Mhm.
protests. And being anti-racist
Yeah.
is like something that you have to do lifelong, that you can't
Mhm.
just ignore the social media racism
Yeah.
just because you think it's funny, because
Like,
it's never funny.
just call out racism wherever you see it. Educate people. Like, do your best to be an ally. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many ways to educate yourself now
Yeah.
as well. Like, the internet is good for that.
Mhm.
You just have to, it's so easy. You just go to Google, say, how do I not be racist online?
It's literally so simple.
But anyway, moving on. The University of Bradford is working on a project where citizens will be able to report issues such as flood warnings on an app, which will then get sent directly to the council. The scheme will use smart objects and devices to monitor the issues, but Dr. Deval Thacker, an associate professor in computer science, assures that it is vital to keep a human element to the research. Our reporter Chelsea Sewell spoke to Dr. Thacker to find out more.
Things like that. What will the project involve?
I think the way, because this has been efforts, there has been efforts for last 2 years to work on this. So something like flood monitoring, one of the challenges there is, one of the ways you can do build a smart solution is you install Internet of Things devices, which could monitor, all your important parameters for flooding. You might look at rivers and reservoirs which you are trying to monitor, and the water level in them, and that you could have ultrasonic sensors which could allow you to do that. But also, you might have some drainage and gullies which are, if they are blocked, that could also create surface level flooding issues. And then you might want to monitor that as well. So there are IoT solutions you could Internet of Things solutions you could apply. But a lot of it, what we have ended up doing is what we call citizen science. So how do you involve citizens in reporting this sort of problems? Because it's only so much sensors you can install, and citizens, if the citizens are involved and they are providing the reports in the area, they are providing the data from the area, it kind of helps you to scale up, your monitoring basically. So we worked with Addingham community. We have built a mobile application which allows the communities to submit reports. So they can go to, they could be next to a river, they can take a picture if they see that water level are rising, or they can take a picture of a blocked gully or drainage, and they can send a picture with a bit of a note with it, what they've observed, the context, because they are living there, they know the context as well, and that is sent to the council. So we built a system for council also to monitor this, and we are literally trialing this as we speak in May with Bradford City Council, but also other partner, which is Aberdeen City Council as well. So I think it's kind of whatever we are doing is always a combination of how do you combine the intelligent systems, but also human as well. So keeping human always in the loop. And there's a lot of similar things we are doing with air quality as well in Bradford, involving citizens for air quality monitoring.
Okay, so how are you implementing the air quality from the citizens?
So we have built up because what the plan we have in the project is to scale up air quality monitoring. So this you might have noticed or you might have seen that there are big stations, air quality stations in almost all the cities, big cities, including Bradford. And these are, installed by the government, and they are extremely expensive. They are highly accurate, but they are extremely expensive. So what we're trying to do is, can we have low-cost devices? So you're looking at a couple of £100 devices, which can allow you to monitor important parameters about air quality. So things like PM 2.5, so that's particulate matter 2.5, PM 10, which is another parameter you want to watch out, NO2 because of the vehicle pollution and so on. So we build the kit and calibrate it against industry standards, which this kit allows you to monitor a number of parameters as I've mentioned. And also the plan is to give this to citizens in a part of Bradford to take this inside their homes to see what sort of indoor air quality they have. But also we're going to strategically deploy these kits in and around Bradford in whole metropolitan. And this data which is coming from these kits would be visualized using a visualization online system. So that's how we are looking to tackle this.
And now some entertainment news. The BBC show Line of Duty will be airing its final episode this week. The final episode of season 6 will be airing this Sunday at 9 p.m. on BBC One. Our reporter Lydia O'Neill has more.
Line of Duty is a police drama following the investigations of an AC-12 controversial corruption unit. The police drama first came to our screens in 2012 on the BBC. The success of the show has been growing over its airtime the past 9 years. Last Sunday's return attracted a record-breaking audience of 11 million viewers. The opening episode of season 6 was watched by 9.6 million viewers. This surpassed the show's previous record of 9.1 million for the finale of series 5 in 2019. Fans of the show speculate in a season 7 and are hoping that hints for another season will be dropped on the episode this weekend, which is airing on Sunday at 9 p.m. on the BBC.
Will you be watching, JC?
Probably not. I have never even watched Line of Duty. I've only ever seen it in little clips, like on Gogglebox or something like that. Like, I've never watched it.
No, I'm the same. It's quite controversial though, isn't it, to not have seen it, because everyone seems to be watching it.
Yeah, like everyone loves it.
I don't even get what it's about.
No, all I know it's like police work and that's it. I don't know anything else.
No, but I've heard it's really good. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll tune in, see if I like it, and then start from the beginning.
Possibly.
But now, Victoria Beckham says homeschooling her daughter Harper during lockdown has given her a greater appreciation for teachers. The former Spice Girl says seeing her 9-year-old learning over Zoom was pretty tough. And she also told the Evening Standard that both Harper and her son Cruz were delighted to be back in school. Your sister recently went back to school, didn't she? So was she excited?
Yeah, she was really excited. She was so excited to see her friends and just get back into a routine, because she likes the routine of it all. You know what I mean? Like, she likes getting up, going to school, then coming home and relaxing.
So how old is she now? Like, what year is she in?
So she's 5, so she's in reception.
Oh,
so
the fun years.
Yeah, the years where you don't really have to do much. I wish I was back.
Okay, and finally, the weather. So let's go over to our weather reporter, Chloe Deacon, to give us the latest.
Hi, I'm here at Leeds Trinity University, and the weather is slightly chilly. The rain has just started to set in for this afternoon, and the bank holiday weekend we'll see some patchy clouds, scattered showers, but there will be some sunny spells in between. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chloe. That's all we have time for today. Thank you for watching and enjoy the bank holiday weekend.
Bye.